video is something we talk about a lot in our vocabulary notebook entry video, which is ldoceonline.com. And so we just go there, and it will take you to this. This website is my favorite dictionary website. I like it better than dictionary.com, way better. I like it better than Cambridge. I like it better than Webster. There's a lot of options out there for dictionary use, and I feel like this is the most thorough, the easiest to understand, and the one that helps you get to know the word the best, better than anything I've ever used before. So I highly encourage you all to use this and to enjoy this yourself. Let's start here. Before I started the video, I looked up this word, irresponsible. And this is one of the vocabulary words you have in your vocabulary notebook for your first unit. I wanted to take the time in this video to point out so many wonderful features of this website. So it's not for your notebook, but it's for your learning, and so you can get the most you can out of the Longman Dictionary website. So first, at the very top of the page, you have all of these words that they call a word family. Every word has a word family, meaning the noun form, the adjective form, the adverb form, the verb form of a word. Sometimes words don't have a word family for every part of speech. So here you can see there's no word family for verb. So this word cannot be used as a verb. It can be used as a noun, it could be used as an adjective, and it could be used as an adverb. And because in English, irresponsible is the exact opposite of the word responsible, they have these here. And it has a equal sign with a slash through it that shows that these are not the same, they're in fact opposites. Responsibility, irresponsibility. Responsible, irresponsible. Responsibility, irresponsibility. Not every word you look up will have a word family. Not every word that you look up will have this opposite or antonym, but this word happens to, and that is a really great feature. So if there's a word family associated with a vocabulary word you look up, they'll have it on the top of the entry. I mentioned this in the other video as well. If you are someone who is very interested in pronunciation, knowing how to pronounce English words on your own or words on your own using just a dictionary, what I highlighted here is the International Phonetic Alphabet form of how to say the word. There is an alphabet that exists that has every sound in every language in it. And if you memorize all the different symbols, you can see some of these look like English letters, but we don't have a letter like this, right? In English, even the A here, right, is a little bit funny. And so if you memorize all the symbols and what each symbol's sound is, you'll be able to read this, and even if you've never heard the word responsible spoken before, you'll know how to say it yourself. They also have a feature where you can click and hear it said, so that's wonderful. If there's any opposites to the word, it'll definitely tell you. OPP stands for opposite, which is responsible. And of course, in our vocabulary notebook tutorial I already mentioned, here are some very common language expressions or words that go along with this word irresponsible. Totally irresponsible, highly irresponsible, completely irresponsible. I would say for me, totally and completely are used a lot with this word responsible, irresponsible. Totally irresponsible, I would say that. Completely irresponsible, I would say that. So now you don't only just know the definition, but you're starting to get to know how native speakers actually use this word. Then we would say it is irresponsible for someone to do something. It's irresponsible for Julia to go to the gym while her daughter's taking a nap. Anything like that you could use here, but it will give you a whole phrase and you just plug in your ideas here. This is a really great way to learn how to use English as it's really used by native speakers and in the world. Here we have irresponsibly, the adverb. I think they have it up here as well, but they wanted to give you a little example sentence. You can also click and hear these example sentences said, which is wonderful. They also have this wonderful feature that might not mean a lot to you yet, but hopefully it will. It says examples from the corpus. Before this video, I wrote a little definition of what that means. A corpus is a computer database that has millions of language files. So linguists and people who study language as their job have put together these computer databases with millions of conversations, lectures, talks, TV show scripts, anything that people have written down in that language and put them in a database. So when they look up any word, they can see how it's really used by native speakers. And that's how they discover, oh, this is how native speakers use the word irresponsible. How did they figure that out? They figured it out by this huge computer database that has all these real instances of native speakers using the word irresponsible. So I've mentioned, but this helps researchers learn how words in a language are used and how frequently they're used. It's a really cool area of language study, but you see the benefits here. So they took some really great examples from the corpus, from this database, and they gave you so many real life examples, probably from news broadcasts, from the newspaper, from lectures, from textbooks, of this word irresponsible being used. So you can see what words go with irresponsible, how it's used usually, and I think that's really wonderful. Let's look up one more word from our list here. I think it was motive that I felt was pretty good. Yes, so if you look up this word motive, again, you have your word family, noun, adjective, verb, no adverb for this one, but 3 different parts of speech this word motive could be used. AWL means academic word list. This means that this one researcher in 2000 made a list of the 300 most important words for students to know before they go to college to be successful in college, and motive is one of those words. So it's a very important word to know if you're going to be in college in the United States and if you're going to read academic things in English. Here we have motive and we have motif. If you don't know what that means, you can always click it. That's another thing that's wonderful. Any of these lines that have dot 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 dot, dot underneath, if you put your cursor over it, you see how it's really a click button. That means you can click it and then it'll take you to the dictionary definition of reason. So if there's ever a word in a definition you don't know, you can click on it and you can learn the definition of that word very easily. Again, we have our language expressions here. Here we have a really good example of a language expression in an example sentence. That's another way you can get a language expression for your vocabulary notebook. This is a good example of those two ways. In bold black or bold gray in the example sentences. You see how it's bold and it's thicker than the other words around it. That shows it's a language expression too. An ulterior motive, meaning a reason he kept hidden. Really good word. Phrase in English, especially if you like crime shows, if you like police shows or investigative shows. They always talk about ulterior motives. You can look at the thesaurus here, which means other ways to use that word, other synonyms of the word. And this is the part that I really wanted to show you in this entry here. We have this word collocations. And a collocation is very similar to a language expression or a language chunk, which I talk about in your notebook video. But a collocation is a group of words that are often used together in a language. Every language has collocations. Every language has words that always go together. And you see them together a lot. Here, we have all collocations that use the word motive. So we have a strong motive, the main motive, the primary motive, a possible motive, a hidden motive, someone's true or real motive. We also have, and so these are collocations with adjectives. You see, they're all adjectives before. Strong motive, main motive, primary motive, possible motive. These words here are all adjectives. But here we have what verbs go with motive. Have a motive. That's how we say it. We don't say take a motive. We say have a motive. If you're unsure of somebody's motive, we would say we question somebody's motive or suspect somebody's motive. If we want to know somebody's motive but we don't know, we would say we need to find or establish a motive. So this is not something you need to write down for your notebook. This is just to show you how much there is for you on this website. These collocations and learning collocations are so important for you to become a fluent speaker of English. You can know what this word motive means, but if you don't know how to use it in an accurate way in your writing and in your speaking, you won't sound like you really know what the word motive means. All words in English, most of them, have their own little collocations, how native speakers typically use it. And so if you memorize these, if you're familiar with these, if you know how to say these, this will take you really far in your language comprehension and your fluency. Not just in my class, but anywhere you are for a job, taking the TOEFL, in credit classes at a university. These things are really what you need to be focusing on now at this point in your language learning. So I hope that this little tutorial was helpful in showing you what's available on the Longman website. I know this website has been working on, different kind of translations. Unfortunately, I'm not very bilingual myself, and so it's always a little tricky for me to show this part. But they do have options for Japanese, Korean, and Spanish. And so if you speak one of those languages, fiddle with this. Look around on these options, and maybe it'll be a really good way for you to look in your own language, look in English, and those kinds of things. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope this made you interested in this website a little bit more and excited to use this, not just in my class, but in whatever other classes you have, whatever other dictionary needs you have. This one's a really great one. I'll see you next time.